Evening. My name is Carla Grau-Egerton, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Whidbey Island. I'm also the Forum Committee Chair. On behalf of our league, I'd like to welcome our audience to this evening's primary election forum. And a special welcome to the candidates participating in tonight's forum. Named in alphabetical order for Mayor, Nick Green, Shane Hoffmeyer, and Ronnie Wright. Craig Nervik did not respond to our invitation or to follow-up contacts. For council member position 2, Patrick or Pat Harmon, Andy Plumley, and Chris Wittgenstein. For council member position 4, Barbara Arms and John Kazar. Wismine Davilar has advised us that she has withdrawn her candidacy. For school board position, Aisha Mayfield and Will Smith. Sharon Jensen did not respond to our invitation or to follow-up contacts. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce this evening's forum moderator, Mary Huffine.
Thank you, Carla. My name is Mary Huffine, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Whidbey Island. I'm a member of our forum committee and will be this evening's moderator. My fellow panelist, in addition to the candidates, is Joanna Rooms, timekeeper. Our local league co-president, Carol Pulliam, is our Zoom platform manager, and Karen Bolstad is providing additional technical support. I'd also like to welcome the candidates participating in tonight's forum, which is co-sponsored by Snow Isle Libraries. All the candidates received copies of our league's forum policy, forum format, and ground rules documents, as well as recording releases. For the benefit of our audience, I'll say these documents outline the structure of our forums, expectations for civil discourse, and our league's commitment to treat all participants with fairness and respect. We appreciate candidates' willingness to participate in this important voter information event. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. The League works to increase understanding of major public policy issues and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We endeavor to make democracy work by offering events like this, by registering voters, and much more. If you're interested in our work, join us. Go to our website at www.lwvwhidbey.org and become a member today. The library's mission is to provide resources to the community for lifelong learning. Our partnership enables us to pool our resources to provide neutral and unbiased information to the public. Visit their website at www.snowisle.org to learn about all their services. Tonight's forum will consist of 3 segments. The first will feature candidates for Oak Harbor Mayor. The second segment will feature candidates for Oak Harbor City Council Position 2 and Position 4. The third segment will feature candidates for Oak Harbor School Board Position 5. The format for this evening will be standard Q&A. The questions have been selected in advance by our forum committee. None of the questions for this evening's event have been disclosed to the candidates prior to the opening of this forum. The moderator will pose all the questions. Each candidate will have an opportunity to answer all questions. The order of the candidates in respect to questions has been determined in advance by the league organizers to ensure a random and fair sequence. The first responder to a question will have 90 seconds to answer. The remaining candidates will have 60 seconds to answer. The timekeeper will signal when 15 seconds remain by showing a yellow card and a red card when time is up. Candidates will not pose questions of each other or engage in personal attacks of other candidates during their responses. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. For further information about the candidates and to see their responses to a different set of questions, visit the League of Women Voters of Washington website at www.vote411.org. This forum is being recorded by the League. A link for viewing it will be posted on our website. No other recording is permitted. The League adheres strictly to the requirements of the FCC regarding use of recordings. Any use of the recording requires approval by the League of Women Voters, Whidbey Island, and then again with the caveat that it must be broadcast in its entirety. No candidate is allowed to edit or use the footage for campaign purposes. We'll begin with questions for the candidates for Oak Harbor Mayor. When candidates have concluded their closing statements, we'll transition to the candidates for Oak Harbor City Council, position 2 and position 4, and finally to the candidates for Oak Harbor School Board, position 5. Let's begin. I'm going to read the job description for the mayor first. The mayor is elected at large for 4-year terms. The mayor is the CEO of the city and officially speaks for both the government and the community as a whole. The mayor is the presiding officer and a regular member of the city council and has all the powers and duties for the office of council member in addition to those of mayor. And our candidates tonight are Nick Green, Shane Hoffmeyer, and Ronnie Wright. So let's go to question 1. What would be your first priority if elected mayor? And question 1 will go first to Shane Hoffmeyer. Shane, you have 90 seconds.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, my biggest goal is to restore the voice of the people. You know, for the last 1.5 years on council, that's been one of our great works, is that we've been restoring that faith that the average voter needs to have in us. You know, my goal is to provide efficient, cost-effective change to the citizenry, you know, to really look at what we can afford, to focus on affordability. There's so much we can do in that regard. You know, some of the past mistakes, like with the clean water facility, they ran so far over budget, and the focus was on that for all too long. We have a lot of critical infrastructure that we need to repair, and on council, we're getting that done. You know, you're seeing currently that West Whidbey Avenue is being redone between Oak Harbor and Jib Street. That includes all that below grade infrastructure there. Northeast 7th, you know, that's a project that had been getting talked about for 20 years. That will be done next spring. But the biggest priority is you look at this change and this progress that council has ushered in over this last 1.5 years. To protect and preserve that change, but to accelerate that change as well. The citizens of Oak Harbor are desperate for results. Those results are coming in finally. We have a great city council and amazing staff. So the priority is just to build upon these successes and to finally not only take Oak Harbor back to where it was, but where it needs to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question to Ronnie Wright, and you have 60 seconds. Is Ronnie there?
He needs to unmute.
Still not hearing. Ronnie, are you
There
there?
we go. Is that working now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
sorry
you.
about that. Sorry about
Thank
that.
you.
Teams phones. So the first priority of mine would be to become acclimated with the environment at City Hall. I have met with a lot of the department heads already and have a sense of the pulse of things that are happening at the city. But I mean, I think it's important to sit down and become acclimated with all of the staff at City Hall, and then look at what our priorities are and what our overall mission is, and then make sure that those align with what is most urgent with the city and the needs of the city. So again, any leadership role that I've stepped into currently or in the past, the first thing you always have to do is get a sense of what the environment is like and what's been going on, what direction we're going, and how best to do that with the people that we have in place. So thank you.
Thank you. And same question to Nick Green. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so one of the first things I would probably do is kind of review all the different department heads, kind of figure out what they do and their part in running, the city as a whole. And I would certainly look at any kind of pending litigations that the city has on hand. And I guess, one of the other priorities is all these different contract bids that the city gets. I strongly believe that we should have at least more than one bidder, bidding on all these different construction projects. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Question 2. What particular qualification or experience makes you the ideal candidate for mayor? And this question goes to Ronnie Wright first. Ronnie Wright, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. So I have 25 years of financial management experience that started with the Washington State Auditor's Office, where I audited city and state municipalities throughout the state of Washington. I was recruited by the Internal Revenue Service, where I worked for a long time and was promoted from a revenue agent to a group manager to a program manager, and led as many as 3,000 people at one point in time. I currently manage my practice here in town with 7 employees. So obviously I took a big step down with my small practice from the IRS, but I'm loving my practice. I understand the city has about 200 employees. It's right at 190-ish, somewhere in there. So, there would be a learning curve and some time in sitting down and getting to know folks and understanding the processes and the procedures there. But I have a lot of experience in working with group managers as well as program managers and individuals, and leading teams of people through challenging times with the government in the past. I would also like to point out that I have many years of experience in working on nonprofit boards and working with other like-minded professionals and moving nonprofit organizations forward to complete their missions. So thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Nick Green. 60 seconds for you.
Yeah, so with my qualifications and experience, I've done a lot of work in the insurance industry. I got some professional designations, and I know a lot about insurance. I ran multiple businesses. I got 2 of them right now: Limousine, Massage, and then I guess for a hire service, which I seem to enjoy working with people. And I present myself professionally most of the time anyways, unless when you're not working. And I'm pretty much more of a leader, not so much as a follower. And I think I conclude that as my question to that answer.
Thank you. Shane Hoffmeyer, same question to you. You have 60 seconds.
Muted.
Shane Hoffmeyer, you're muted.
Unmuted. My life's work makes me uniquely qualified for the position of mayor. Whether it be my 8 years of elected experience, whether it be my 1.5 years on council, my 15 years of working for the government, or my 20 years of construction experience in the private sector and the public sector. I'm uniquely qualified to direct our staff and to get accountability from our contractors for the citizenry. And, the biggest thing is just, I'm one of those average voters, just a working class person raising a family here in Oak Harbor that really understands the struggle, the plight of affordability, and desperately wanting that accountability from our elected officials, and just wanting a more livable community for all. And I know that together Oak Harbor will get there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question 3. What could the mayor do to promote affordable workforce housing solutions? And Nick Green, this question goes to you first, 90 seconds.
Yeah, sure. So one of the main reasons why housing, I believe, is not affordable at the moment is because of the Navy brought in substantial amount of personnel onto the base, which I'm trying to calculate maybe like around 3,000. It'd be nice if the Navy would add more homes or barracks to their facilities, would certainly help out with the crisis of affordability for housing. Currently they're sitting at like about 3,000. Half of those are barracks, and the other 15 is homes. And I think that's it for my question, or my answers for that question.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shane Hoffmeyer, same question to you, and you have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I worked in public sector housing with HUD for 13 years. There is a lot the mayor can do with regards to this. 6 years ago, I believe it was, there was an affordable housing task force, and a lot of that had been commissioned, by the mayor. The mayor of Oak Harbor currently had an individual on that task force, George Saul, reach out to me at the time when I was on housing. And, there was a lot of discussion about, low-income tax exemptions and low-income tax credits and multifamily tax credits. Unless you have somebody committed to doing a specific task, it's not going to happen. And the mayor can do so many of those tasks. So you took that affordable housing task force, all of those recommendations, that slate, and they sat for quite a while. They sat for 4+ years. But this council has worked feverishly to modernize the development code, to reduce minimum lot size, to allow multifamily tax credits, to allow auxiliary dwelling units, and so many more levers and buttons that can be pushed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ronnie Wright, same question to you, 60 seconds.
Thank you. I'm not sure there's a lot more that I could add that Shane hasn't already articulated on. I will just add, though, with respect to affordable housing, City Council and city staff members have been working diligently with federal and state constituents on grants and funding and tax credit incentive programs. So I would, what I would commit to was continuing that work in that stead, and making sure that we didn't give up on or let this just sit for another 4 years, as Shane indicated. We realize that in this community, this is something that is facing our community. It is becoming a crisis, but it's not exclusive to our community. It's across the entire state, and it's across the entire nation. So we've got to do what we can as community leaders to make sure that we're moving this down the road. But at the same time, we also have to keep in the back of our mind and remember that this is up to the private sector to come in and actually build the homes. So we have to partner with them as well.
Thank you. Let's go to question 4. Please expand on the slogan on your campaign signs. And this question goes to Ronnie Wright, 90 seconds.
Thank you. So the slogan on my signs is experience and integrity as I look out the window at a sign. And the reason for that is, like I stated in the beginning of this forum, I have 25 years of financial management experience. I partner with small businesses, mom and pop shops, to large international manufacturing corporations. I work with different varying complexities when it comes to financial statements and tax issues. And I've done that over and over again for the last 10 years here in this practice as a partner and owner in this firm, as well as all of my time at the Internal Revenue Service when I was auditing, as well as overseeing audits or managing and directing a staff of up to 3,000 people. And I have always served and worked hard to ensure that my experience and integrity were intact and were always at the front of how I led my people and did things. So those are things I'm very proud of. It's not just something that pertains to my professional life, but it pertains to my personal life as a husband and as a father. It's just part of my core value system. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to you, Nick Green, 60 seconds.
Yeah, so my slogan is leading our city forward together. And you know, if you're going to become mayor, you're going to have to become a leader. And working together it may sound easy, but it's also difficult as well, because trying to work with multiple businesses, nonprofit organizations, and also with multiple city departments. And sometimes there could be a lot of stubbornness in people's positions and trying to find a common ground to that, because, you know, everyone wants good, you know, for their own city. It just, you know, the question is how you get there. So there'd be a lot of different discussions and trying to figure out a solution that's workable for everybody, even with the people in the city of Oak Harbor.
Thank you. And Shane Hoffmeyer, same question to you. 60 seconds.
Yeah, you know, it's the people that I represent, and my approach to every decision has been, and it will continue to be, based on how it affects the average citizen in Oak Harbor and how affordable it will be. You know, the families in Oak Harbor in many ways are facing an affordability crisis, and you know that hasn't been made any easier by the inordinate amount of burden that is placed on them by the city's utility rates. You know, with their utility rates, we were actually able to lower that bill $4.14 a month, where it was scheduled to increase by $35 a month. And we did that by investing in critical infrastructure repair and using some of that state and federal money. But we have to really double down on critical infrastructure, critical things that we have to have. And the mistakes of the past can never happen again. And our families have to always come first. We have to be accountable to them. And there are so many ways we can save those families money and make their lives easier, including intentional economic development that will add places on where to live, work, and recreate, and just help stabilize this market and bring down these costs to combat the national inflationary trends where we can.
Sorry, I was muted. It's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now let's move to the candidates' closing statements. And you have 2 minutes, each of you. We'll go alphabetically. Nick Green, you're first. You're muted.
There we go. Yeah, sorry about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was a long process that I started trying to decide if I wanted to run for mayor or not. And I eventually decided to. So I kind of started my whole campaigning on the week of filing. So I didn't really have a lot of time to get set up properly. But you know, I do have fun doing it, so it's not too bad. I'm also learning a lot. And I'm certainly looking forward to November's election.
Thank you. Shane Hoffmeyer, your 2-minute closing statement.
As your next mayor, my primary focus will be diligently advocating for the community. I will prioritize affordability and base my every decision on how it will directly affect the average citizen in Oak Harbor. My ultimate goal will always be putting your best interest at the forefront of my mind, words, and actions. I have listened and responded to the people of Oak Harbor, working tirelessly and successfully to decrease cost and fees. During my time on council, I've always been transparent, honest, and available, approaching every issue with an eye for the win-win solution. An important fact that can't be overlooked tonight is that elected experience matters when leading a community. The role of mayor is not an entry-level position. Elected experience is the first category you'll come to in the voter pamphlet, and there's a valid reason. Oak Harbor voters can look to the evidence of character and success in a politician based on their record. In fact, they historically have, as every mayor elected since 1976 has had previous elected experience. I'm the candidate that has that elected experience and a demonstrated commitment to getting things done. And I humbly and I graciously ask that you continue standing beside me. Here's the thing. For the taxpayers in Oak Harbor, right now, the stakes are too high to elect anyone that does not have a well-rounded experience in city government and community relations. If you seek an affordable future, if you seek accountability from your city government, if you seek a more livable community, if you believe, like I do, that all these things are achievable, then join with me. I look forward to serving Oak Harbor as the next mayor, and I will not let you down.
Thank you. I just have one question. I want to ask Nick Green, did I cut you off? I did not mean to. I think you had some more time left.
No, that's all right. It was a short answer. Thank you Bill, for
Okay,
asking.
just wanted to check. Okay. Ronnie Wright, your 2-minute closing statement.
Great, thank you very much. So a lot of people have asked me why I'm running and why now, and I say why not now. We're at a critical point with our local community and our local government. We've had a lot of shortcomings in the last few years where capital projects have run hundreds of millions of dollars over budget and people are asleep at the wheel. We need somebody who has financial management experience and can do the math. I'm that person. I know a lot of folks want to point out that you don't have any elected experience, but I would like to point out that at the beginning of this forum, you put up what the job description of the mayor was, and it said specifically in there, the CEO of the city. And I don't know where you see any CEO that can't go from being the CEO of Disney over to the CEO of IBM. There's not necessarily a transfer of industry specific knowledge, but what you're looking for is leadership knowledge. And I have that leadership knowledge and I have that experience. I've led up to 3,000 people. There isn't anybody else that's in this race that can even come close to the leadership experience that I'm bringing to the office. And that's what I will stand by, and that's what I will run on, and that's what I will work towards. And I will continue to lead our city forward into the next 4, 8, however long years. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all the candidates that are here, Nick Green, Shane Hoffmeyer, and Ronnie Wright. Let's move on to the city council positions 2 and 4. The city of Oak Harbor has a mayor council form of government. The city council is the legislative branch of city government and the mayor is the executive branch responsible for city administration. The council enacts ordinances and resolutions, holds public hearings, approves development plans, receives citizen suggestions and complaints, authorizes payment of city funds, approves contracts, creates committees and boards to assist in the operation of city government, and much more. The 7 city council members are elected to 4-year terms. And tonight we have Patrick Harmon, Andy Plumley, and Chris Wittgenstein for position 2. And for position 4, we have Barbara Arms and John Chazar. And question 1, what would be your top priority for the next Oak Harbor city budget? And question 1 goes to Chris Wittgenstein first, 90 seconds.
Thank you, everybody, for having us today. A pleasure to be here. Top priority for Oak Harbor City budget, fiscal, making sure we balance our budget, make sure we're doing the programs we're doing well already, continue to make those happen. One of the things I'd like to see us do is figure out ways to support and incentivize developers to help with our housing. I believe that can be done through budgeting. And I also would like to see us expand our community involvement through potentially supporting our local organizations, whether it's through grants, continuing with grant funding, to build a community center of some sort that we can gather in the off season, where we can hold more music fests and hold more of these types of things that bring community together, which in my personal opinion, really strengthens our mental health in our community. When our community comes together, the mental health of our community is better as well. And I think we were evident of that through the period of time through COVID, where we were isolated in our own little cocoons as a result of the pandemic. And we were able to then we saw a huge increase in our mental health crises in all age groups, from adolescents, young kids to adults. So that's where I think we can look at, and one of my top priorities is making sure our community comes together stronger, and we can do that through community support of one another, and the city can have a place in that.
Time.
Thank you. Same question to Patrick Harmon. You have 60 seconds.
Pat's not with us.
Oh, he's not with us. Okay. Andy Plumley, you have 60 seconds. I'm not hearing Andy. Are you muted?
Thank you for having me this evening. It really is an honor to be here. For the next Oak Harbor City budget, my top priority would be to understand the contracts. I'd want to make sure that the contracts are favorable to the city. I'd want to make sure that they recognize our local labor, that we're keeping as much of those development dollars in-house, being in our city, that we're recognizing and partnering with local businesses, vice off-island businesses, where we can, and make sure that those contracts that are going to be there for the next 2 years are ones that are reasonable and realistic, so that we're not going back out to our city with cost overruns and asking for more money. I believe that we can do this in a way that provides our community with full transparency of what our plans are for the next 2 years, and creates a budget that not only can we stick to, but with proper oversight, we can actually improve upon. Thank you.
Thank you. Position 4, John Chazar, same question to you, 60 seconds.
Sure. Thank you for having me. The first thing is just to get to understand the budget, to make sure, A, it's balanced. I believe someone's already mentioned that. And I want to make sure that projects and what's in the budget address our needs first before we address any wants. The biggest thing, I see two big things I want to make sure that we are prioritizing in our budget for next year is the infrastructure issues we have, and to make sure that we have dedicated money for that. And also the other, a big issue that we have in this city is affordable housing. Not necessarily the budget to build affordable housing, but necessarily to budget incentives to incentivize developers who come into this town and to build multifamily housing to address the needs to better our way of life here in Oak Harbor.
Thank
Done.
you. Barbara Arms, same question to you, 60 seconds. Are you there, Barbara? Are you muted? Anybody? I don't see her. Anybody see her?
She needs to unmute.
Barbara's muted. Barbara, you need to unmute, please. She,
Right, is she there? I can't see her, so.
her name is there, but we've lost her video.
Huh,
So there must be some sort of technical problem.
well. Do we want to wait a minute or go on to question 2 and then come back, or how do you want to do this?
Let's, well, she has now There she is. She's connecting to audio, so she had a problem. She should be with us momentarily.
Okay. I'll read the question again when,
Okay, this is Barbara Armstrong. I'm sorry,
Okay.
the thing wouldn't let me in. I'm sorry.
okay, so I'll read the question again because you probably didn't hear it. The question is, what would be your top priority for the next Oak Harbor city budget? And you
Well,
have 60 seconds.
one of my top priorities has been our sewer system and our aging pipes. This is putting a huge strain on our sewer system, our brand new sewer system, which is costing us money and which is costing the citizenry. We have changed a lot in the city as far as our zoning, and I think we're making improvements. We put a lot of housing in there. Yes, we probably could do more, but we're going to have to work with a variety of organizations to do that. The other thing, as far as the community, we have been working with the new parks director, and he has come up with some innovative ideas that will actually improve the access to the parks for people with disability, and also the ability to use some of our parks for a multi-purpose use for the community, and also be able to help people that can't afford it to actually be able to afford some of these things so they can get to know who we are.
Thank you. Question 2. Homelessness is an issue here as in other cities. What specific approach should Oak Harbor focus on at this time? And this question will go first to Andy Plumley, and you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. I think that we're in a unique situation because we are an island that we could partner with the other cities on the island to come up with a collaborative agreement to address homelessness island-wide, not just in the city. I think that when you look at the Homeless Coalition in 2022, estimated we had 150 homeless on the island. We have a residency, according to the most recent census, of about 70,000. That's less than 0.2% of our population is homeless. It's slightly higher when we factor in those that are housing unstable. Now, we know that we can help those who are experiencing short-term homelessness, those who have lost their home due to fire, natural disaster, those who lost their primary breadwinner or lost their chief source of employment. Cash infusions, short-term assistance can help bridge that gap so they don't become homeless. Even if we double that rate and estimate that we have 300 homeless on the island, we're still under 0.3% of our population. So while we hear a lot about it, and we're certainly seeing it on our streets, it's not unmanageable yet. And if we can work together with the other cities, Langley, Clinton, Coopville, I believe that if we were to create a campsite, then we can meet the intent of the law that says no camping on public spaces unless we have a bed. But we need to give them a space to be while we work to build housing and move them into stable housing permanently. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to you, Chris Wittgenstein. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. This is a great question. As a board member of the Would Be Homeless Coalition over the last 4.5 years, we have been doing due diligence and working, and Andy is correct. The homeless on the island is probably counted. So those that we know of roughly in that 150 mark. And we do great on serving the immediate needs for low barrier homelessness. How can the cities have a specific approach to help? I concur with Andy. I think partnerships with the island county continuing to go, partnerships with all the other municipalities on our island, as well as the nonprofits that are working towards resolving this issue and helping people find long-term housing. And then we also need to continue to work on our affordable housing. We need to be able to have these families that are coming into homelessness be able to afford where they're going to live when they get to that point. And that has been a struggle as well. We have a lot of them in there. So thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Arms, same question to you, and you have 60 seconds.
Yeah. This thing. We have several things that are coming up. We have a new, what they call the Spin Cafe that is opening up in Oak Harbor in the fall that will meet some of the needs of people in the community. But we also need to direct with off island, like they said, you know, Langley, Clinton, Freeland. But we also need to partner with also other counties, whether it be Skagit, Snohomish. And we need to look at how they can provide us and help us with services for people that have mental ill or drug or alcohol addiction. You know, we need to find that support, and we need to find a balance. It's something we need to help all citizens be able to find a home, find the help they need. And we're going to have to think more outside the box. And we're probably going to have to look at partnering with other communities so that we can address the issue so that these people won't have this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. John Chazar, same question, 60 seconds.
Sure. If I had to answer this question, I'd be running for governor, not city council. You know, affordable housing is one of the keys to solving one of these issues. We have to engage multiple agencies, local and state, for a solution, as well as the private sector. We can address immediate needs for the homeless, but it can't be an ongoing burden on the community. So we have to look for ways to not only take care of their immediate needs, but also how to engage them back into the community and be a contribution to this community. It's a huge burden on both the government and the private sector, and we need to address it. It's a growing issue, but I also believe it has to be two-pronged. It has to be address immediate issues, but it also has to have long-term solutions as well to solve the issue and to re-engage them into the community.
Thank you. Let's go to question 3. What qualities would you bring to this position that sets you apart from other candidates? And the question goes first to Andy Plumley. 90 seconds.
Thank you. So I have been on the planning commission for the last year and a half, so I have experience with our city governance. I do hold a master's in public administration, specifically with a focus on sustainable development, sustainable management practices. And I have been a leader at multiple levels for the last 20 plus years. I was a chief petty officer in the Navy. I was an officer in charge of boat detachments. I've taken crews as small as 10 and as large as 300 out to sea. I was a quality supervisor for the largest mozzarella manufacturing plant in the world, as well as I managed a pharmacy chain here, Island Drug, for almost 5 years, including through the pandemic. And the system that we built was one of the most successful in the state of Washington. So I'm not afraid to make tough decisions. I am a systems thinker. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Chris Wittgenstein. You have 60 seconds.
Yes, thank you. I believe I have quite a bit of experience to bring to the table, not only as a licensed mental health practitioner and addiction specialist who serves our community both in the addicted world and those who struggle with mental illness. My extensive history of nonprofit work. I've served on a lot of nonprofits, both in this community and previous communities I lived in before. I also have served almost a 4-year term with North Whidbey Pool Park and Recreation District, which gives me government experience working with budgetary and infrastructure issues that we had with the pool. When we got it, it was pretty run down and needing a lot of work. And we were able to do that during a pretty short period of time and get it up to par and get it looking really good and working at its pristine. And I believe that that experience is just a little bit of what I can bring to the table. And I hope to be able to do that for Oak Harbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to John Chazar, 60 seconds.
Sure. I believe a city council should be made up of a balance of folks that lean towards social issues and folks that lean towards business issues. There needs to be a balance of both. We are running to replace Dan Evans, who represented the business side, I believe, of the city council. I have over 30 years of executive leadership in the hospitality industry. I have managed budgets of over $150 million on an annual basis and had staffs of over 1,000 team members. I currently sit as vice chair of the Planning Commission in Oak Harbor. So I already have insights on the workings and inner workings of the city of Oak Harbor. And I'm also a volunteer on the executive board for the Citizens for Better Schools. I believe that the city council will play more part in the betterment of our school system, which will overall improve the quality of life here in Oak Harbor.
Thank you. Barbara Arms, same question, 60 seconds.
Well, since January 2022, I've been the citizen that's been sitting in city council and the workshop meets, almost every single one. I'm now attending the park board. I'm well aware of the agendas, what's going on in the community. I'm out in the community a lot, talking to the citizens, what they care about, what they want. And I'm just the regular person and I'm the local voice. I do have some experience. I was a licensed practical nurse. I'm retired. And so I know how to work with people. I know how to interact, and I can tell what they want and what they need, and I'm willing to listen and be that person that's the voice. And I have been active in, talking to the public works guy, the infrastructure, the city administrator. I have been learning about my city. I took the city tour to find out, and that's how I found out about the pipes. And I have been out looking at everything, and that's what I bring. Thank you.
Thanks. And now let's go to our closing statements. And we'll do this in alphabetical order by position. Andy Plumley, Chris Wittgenstein, Barbara Arms, and John Chazar. Andy Plumley, would you like to start, please? 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm running for city council for the second time because I still believe that I have the skills and the experience to assume a position on city council, represent our community in a favorable way, and be a leader in this community. As a business owner, as a member of our planning commission, as a volunteer for many organizations in our community, I have been and will continue to be active. I believe that we have a responsibility to our neighbors, and I take it very seriously, the representation that our local governance provides to us. So I hope that tonight I have shown a little bit of who I am, how I would approach governance, and I humbly ask for your vote for City Council Seat 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Wittgenstein, your 2-minute closing statement.
Yes, thank you. First, I'd like to thank everybody for being here and holding this forum for us this evening. I want to thank my opponents, Andy, and then I want to thank everybody, all those who put this together. I'd like to share my inspiration for being of service to our community. It starts a long time ago. My grandfather was stationed here in 1958 and decided to make this home from there on. My mother and all my aunts and uncles are alumni and graduates of Oak Harbor High School, as well as my siblings. My grandfather and my mother have both been volunteers in our community with nonprofit boards as well as business owners through my entire life and up until my mom's still with us, but my grandfather's no longer around, just to clarify that. And it's their inspiration that drives me to continue to be the best that I can be and to be a community member that serves our community through leadership styles that is approachable. I lead with transparency and honesty and integrity. And I believe that we are a community that becomes stronger together. These are all these reasons why I even became a mental health counselor, because I care. I care about Oak Harbor, I care about Whidbey Island, and I love what we have here, and I want it to be here for my great grandchildren and their great grandchildren. And I think we can do that by coming together and working as a team. We're stronger that way. That's very much true. So that's why I think I'd make a good choice for this position too on Oak Harbor City Council, and I appreciate your support and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Arms, your 2-minute closing statement.
Okay, I want to thank you all for holding this forum. I thought it was very interesting, very informative, and I thank you for that. One of the things is, since I moved here in January of 2018, I have been very involved in the community in a different way. I have been part of various campaigns. I know the legislators. I know a lot of the bills that have come through. I've worked on it. I have a different perspective. I have more a state and how it affects the county and the city. And so I bring that aspect. Also, like I said, I have been attending the city council members, listening and understanding and trying to figure out where they're at. I just went on a tour of a number of parks the other day to figure out what their plans and their vision is because we have a new park director, just like we have a public works director. After the thing about the sewer system, I took it upon myself to talk to the public works director. And I also made a meeting with him where I got more information, which I'm able to pass on, which I do often to a lot of people, because that's what I talk about. It's something I'm passionate about. I want to be there for the community. I want to know what they want. And I want to explain why we voted, why we did this, and what's going on. I am the person that I hope that people will vote for. I respect everybody on this who's running. You know, it's not a small task to do it, but we're all passionate in our own way. And I thank you for this time.
Thank you. John Chazar, your 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you. Thank you to League of Women Voters for holding this forum and helping us get the word out. You know, I've often said, what does Oak Harbor want to be when it grows up? I've seen remarkable changes in this town over the past 30 years. But I believe we're at a crossroads now, making the next giant leap forward. I have seen what communities can do when there's a collaborative effort to get the input of our citizens and business owners and what their vision is for the future. I believe that's something that we need to really work on, is the communication with our citizens and business owners and getting their input and what they want to see happen here. I believe we can be a vibrant community with the cohabitation of businesses and tourists and residents that I believe will create the ultimate quality of life for all of us. My goal when I leave office is that I played a part in making Oak Harbor a better place to live, play, and work. And I respectfully ask for your vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy Plumley, Chris Wittgenstein, Barbara Arms, and John Chazar.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the school board position, School Board Position 5. The Washington School Board standards provide a common framework for school board governance for local school boards and directors. One set of standards addresses the school board's leadership role in governing and includes responsible governance, expectations for student learning, conditions for student and staff success, accountability, and community engagement. The other set addresses professional standards for individual school directors and includes values and ethical behavior, leadership, communication, growth, and learning, and accountability. Directors serve 4-year terms. And we have Aisha Mayfield and Will Smith here tonight. Thank you. Let's go to question 1. Why do you want to serve on the school board? Question 1 goes to Aisha Wright, 90 seconds.
I believe that I want to serve on the school board because I have, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I want to serve on the school board because I have 2 kids currently in the system. I invested in this community. I've loved it since 2018 when my husband, or I'm sorry, 2008 when my husband and I were married. I have a business that caters to families with children from birth to school age. And I plan to be here for quite some time. And a community that is invested in their schools is a community that thrives. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Smith, 60 seconds. And I'm sorry I didn't call you Mayfield like I should have. Will Smith, 60 seconds.
Thank you so much for having us. Why do I want to serve on the school board? I have two high school kids who go to Oak Harbor High School. During one of their events, I had the pleasure of sitting down and talking to some of their classmates. And they told me some great stories, and listening to what they had to say about the goodness that we are having in our public schools. They also mentioned a few other things that kind of made me think a little bit. And I would like to be their champion. I want their voices to be heard. I work in public education right now. I'm the technology director for the Kuflo School District. I've got the pleasure of seeing their board operate for the past 5 years. I've seen great challenges that they have faced. I also know here in Oak Harbor, we have challenges as well. My understanding and day-to-day interaction with budgets, schools, policies, procedures, and being a champion for our students is the reason why I am running for school board director.
Time.
Thank you. Question 2. It is stated at school board meetings that board members may not respond to public comments or questions. What are your thoughts on how to address visitor, especially student, concerns and questions? First, to Will Smith, 90 seconds.
Thank you for this question. Yes, board policy does state there is board members will not respond to public comment. Now, listening to the voice of our students is probably one of the most important duties that we have as board members. And those voices should never be silenced for any policy. Things that I would definitely want to address when elected as board of director is to make sure that our students' voices are always heard in public comment the whole time. We can adjust our policy to allow them to speak to us. Other ways for families, community members is public comment. You get 3 minutes to speak at every board meeting. Other ways we can do this, we can also use our emails. Every board of director has an email. Email us, ask the questions. We'll refer back together. You know, we have other means to communicate and support our community, to have our community understand and trust our board of directors. So that is kind of some of the ideas and ways to move forward when elected school board director, what I would do to definitely address the public comment and how to get voices heard, especially our students. Our number one priority is our students' voices. They need to be heard. They need to be seen.
Thank you. And same question to Aisha Mayfield. 60 seconds.
My thoughts on how to address visitor concerns and questions is simply that to listen. It is important to not get caught up in what our immediate responses to something, so that we hear what it is that the community, the students, the teachers need from their school board, from their school district. So I think it's important to make sure that we hear their voices, we hear their thoughts, consider them as a group, and discuss them as a group within the board, so that we can answer them by answer of action and doing things that recognize that we heard them. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 3. Control over curriculum, materials, and content has become an issue. What is your approach to curriculum controls? And goes first to Aisha Mayfield, 90 seconds.
I believe that education is something that everyone should benefit from. I believe that in our school systems, there should be a safe space for everybody to learn. I understand that it is a hard issue, that some people do not believe some materials should be taught in schools. However, I think that it is not our place to regulate what is taught in a home, but in a school system, we need to make sure that everybody gets all the facts, all the information, and families can discuss at home what they feel is best. But at school, they should have all the information. Thank you.
Thank you. And same question to William Smith, 60 seconds.
Thank you. So for the curriculum, the school already has a curriculum adoption policy. I've been a part of it as an employee at the other district. So I understand how curriculum is adopted. I understand how to, it goes through many different lenses. We have board members, we have community members, we have parents, we have staff. Now, once the curriculum is adopted, if a subject is viewed by a parent that may be inappropriate or not age appropriate for their student, I think we need to also have alternatives for them. Listen to what they have to say and come up with a solution so that their child will benefit and their student will benefit from maybe an alternative path. And I think that would also help out the relationship between our family members, our students, and our staff and our education to better approach curriculum.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to closing statements, and in alphabetical order, we'll have Aisha Mayfield first. 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this forum, and thank you for inviting me to participate. In closing, I really believe that a community that volunteers within our school systems and can have an understanding of what the needs of our students, our teachers, our community are, and listening to each other within the community of what's important to them. It's the only way we can strengthen and ensure that our students are getting the best education that they can. We all are passionate for our children. Coming together as a community to support them is the best way I know how to thrive. And I hope that you will vote for me for the position 5 for school board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Will Smith, your 2-minute closing statement.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody who was behind the scenes working to have this event tonight. So thank you all so much. I'd also like to thank the community for stopping by, as well as all the other candidates who has joined us for tonight. School board director. It's a unique position which shows trust from the community to the 5 elected board directors to ensure the education of their students, the safety of their students. For the past 5 years, working in education after being medically retired from the Navy, I've had the pleasure of seeing public school change and adapt. I've seen it from pre-pandemic to during pandemic and post-pandemic. The goal of a director is to ensure student success, student safety, regardless of any barriers that might be in the way of those students. So the biggest thing that I think we really need to look at as a board of director is making sure that barriers are no longer in existence for our students, that they have a safe, loving, caring environment to go to, as well as that we have community involvement where they know that they have a return on investment with their tax dollars. Being fiscally responsible is a important part of being a director of school boards. I've been in the school budgets for the past 5 years. I managed the technology levy down in Coopville. So I understand the budget system. And then we need somebody who can help guide our budget to provide the best opportunities for our students, our staff, our administrators, our community, and our families. So in closing, I want to be a champion for the students. The decisions I make will be for schools first and will always benefit every student in Oak Harbor schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to Aisha Mayfield and Will Smith. This concludes our questions for this evening. Thank you all for attending this event. I also want to recognize my fellow members of the Forum Committee for all their contributions to make this virtual event possible. And a special thank you to our league co-president and platform manager, Carol Pulliam, for making our virtual forums a success. One final note, ballots should have begun arriving in the mail after July 14th. If you haven't received a ballot by July 21st at the latest, contact the auditor's office at 360-678-8290. If you choose to mail your ballot, remember that it must be postmarked on or before Election Day, August 1st. There are also secure drop boxes located throughout the county where you can drop off your ballot.